so hypnotic, magical. Don't wanna let you know you're so hypnotic, magical. Don't wanna let you know you're so hypnotic, magical.
Welcome one and welcome all for the first time this school year to Medford, Massachusetts, the home of the Tufts University Jumbos. Over the past summer, we've had time to digest an incredible year for Tufts athletically. The Jumbos program finished 4th in the standings for the Learfield Directors Cup, awarded to the most successful college athletics program at each level. Last year ended with an exclamation point, as Tufts won the national championships in men's lacrosse and women's rowing. However, for now, it's time to rewind to the fall season, as here in Cousins Gymnasium, the Jumbos volleyball team is looking to bounce back from what his coach, Cora Thompson, described as not a typical season for Tufts volleyball. The Jumbos finished 14-11, 6-4 in the NESCAC. They fell in straight sets to the East of Williams College in the conference semifinals, before letting a 2-1 set lead slip away as Eastern University progressed from the NCAA first round. Compared to the 3-time conference champion Standard, this was a disappointing ending to last season's roller coaster story, their worst postseason performance in 5 years. But now is the perfect time for a revamp. The Jumbos are losing 6 crucial players from last season, along with several more rotation pieces. But they've brought in an impressive 9 first years to fill in the gaps. The resulting roster shows 16 underclass players out of 21 total, but this team is by no means inexperienced, and today is their first chance to prove it. The Worcester Polytechnic Institute engineers come to this match having played already 2 this year, and under new head coach Mikey Cahoon, they've made a solid start, bouncing back from a loss to Endicott to brush aside the Bison of Nichols College. They too are in a reset year, and they are up for today's challenge against the Jumbos as the 2 teams meet for the 2nd time in their history here on the Cousins floor. My name is Micah Baum, alongside me is Jake Fossey, and you are watching Tufts University JumboCast. So Jake, it's been an interesting offseason for the Tufts Jumbos. They've lost so many key players. It can only really be described as a historic class, so many All-Americans and other talented players coming through.
Yeah, it was some massive losses for the Jumbos in terms of their senior class. There were 6 players who they have now lost, all of whom put massive contributions to the Jumbos. Megan Harrison, their starting libero last year, who put up a very impressive 414 digs, .93 receiving percentage, and got 32 aces for herself as well. Maddie Yu, one of the best setters in recent Tufts history, a big part of that 2022 NESCAC championship winning squad, and she will dearly be missed. Cora Cunningham, a very strong middle for the Jumbos. Her and Brittany Bennett, another graduated senior, really rotated around that middle area, and we'll leave a lot of questions as to who fills in there. Tori Golden from the outside got a ton of kills last year and was one of the most productive members of the squad, with the 2nd most kills behind Riley Farragher, the final Jumbo who we're losing from the right side, who was NESCAC honorable mention, all NESCAC honorable mention last year, and put up 230 kills, most on the team, 590 kills in her career, along with 53 blocks as well. A very strong member of that Jumbo squad who they'll really need to replicate some of that kill production that is missing now from those players.
Yeah, and taking up no small part in bringing up those kills will be a big returner this year for the Jumbos. Christine Audette, she was out all of last year with a knee injury. You can see she's still wearing a brace today, but she's coming back. She's going to have a big impact all over the court. She has the most kills per set of anyone returning to this team. She had 2.36 during her junior year. She had 250 digs on top of that, 2.66%, which is enough to get her 20th in the entire conference in the NESCAC. She's also a very solid server, registering 26 aces in her last full season. And not to mention, she had a 93.4% receiving percentage, also the best returning on the squad. So really a return of the queen here. She's going to have a massive impact when she comes back into the lineup today.
A very strong player, and we feel like she could alleviate some of that stress of losing Golden on that outside. Having Audette back will be massive for this Jumbo squad. Some other players coming back from the Jumbos that will be really important were their freshman class last year. They had a very, very strong freshman class last year. In fact, most of the starting lineup by the end of the season was freshmen and seniors. So they have to replace those seniors, but they've got these freshmen coming back for their second year. We've got Rihanna Liu, the other setter alongside Maddie Yu, who had a very, very good season. She had 333 assists, along with 31 kills. Her setter dump is lethal. She boasts the highest hitting percentage on the team, about .5, which from the setter is a very effective weapon for the Jumbos. Alongside that, she's had 27 service aces, making her one of the most fearsome servers coming back for the Jumbos. Becca de Poncier Pinheiro is returning as well. She was a very strong defensive specialist and seems to be the libero replacement for Megan Harrison right now. She is wearing the blue shirt, signaling that she will be that libero option, which the Jumbo's got to feel confident in her receive. She was a constant weapon coming in, just shore up the Jumbo's defense last year, and fully confident that she will move in to being a very strong libero. Claire Castor was a very strong freshman, starting right off the gate, starting all but one game last season from the outside. She put up 166 kills, 160 digs, and 42 service aces, averaging, I believe, a ace every 2 sets, which is quite the impressive stat as well. Someone they really look to get runs going. And it's possible, from what we see in the warm-ups, that she may also be playing some setter today as well. So something to keep your eye out there. And finally, Emma Heckman posted 189 kills on the right side. It's the most kills returning of anyone on the team, and it's just lethal. When she gets going, it's hard to stop her. And she's going to be a weapon the Jumbos are really going to look to really get a lot of points this season.
Yeah, the Jumbos coach, Cora Thompson, has really shown her willingness to rely on first years. And it's going to be another year where she's going to have to do that after losing so many of that senior class. But they have brought in a monster first-year class. One of them, Dylan Wizanan, is also wearing a libero jersey, we've just noticed, so she may come in one of the later sets today. Who's to say? I also see Masa Shi, another one of those first years, has one of those libero jerseys on her chair. But just looking around this freshman class, 9 players. Among them, you have 2 back row specialists, 3 outside hitters, 2 setters, a right side, and a middle hitter. That's a full team right there. You could just play that lineup straight up. And one of the things Coach Thompson has really emphasized in the pregame interviews was adding to the depth this team has had. She has really done that effectively, and it's going to be interesting to see how she integrates all of these new first years into already such a young team.
Moving on to WPI, we see a very strong shift in the WPI squad. Looking for them this game, they have lost several key players, including, most significantly, Olivia Deckers, an outside hitter who put up 205 kills last season, and Catherine Reynolds, one of their setters and right sides, who put up another very admirable 184 kills last season. So their replacing of them will be very key.
And it's interesting. They have brought in a new coach this year, head coach Mickey Cahoon. He has switched up the system. They were playing a 6-2 last year. They've switched up to a 5-1 this year with Lily Eldridge as the single setter. However, in warm-ups, we did see an interesting shift. So we'll see if they shift that today. We are going to get ready for National Anthem momentarily, I believe.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, now let's change starting lineups. Starting first, the engineers of WPI. Freshman outside hitter.
Their serve-receive works out in this game. They've had the worst NUMAC serve-receive percentage last year, and it has not gotten better this year. They had an average of 2.33 aces allowed per set last year, allowing 2.8 this year, albeit just in 2 games, but still, that's not a record you want to see, especially facing servers of the quality of Castor and Lou.
Definitely not. And also on the other side of the net, they themselves, their aces have gone down. They were averaging 1.6% last year. That is down to just 1.0 this year. So they are struggling to start points off well at the moment. So you mentioned they did have 2 games so far this year. WPR are 1-1. They had a game against Endicott, which they lost 3-1. That first set of the year actually went to 32-30. They did actually win that, so if we see any of these sets going late, you might favor them. But they then lost the next 3. However, they bounced back strongly against Nichols. Again, they actually lost the first set this time, but managed to bounce back. Esquire set a personal best for college, 29 digs. For the record, Megan Harrison, who was the libero for the Jumbos last year, only managed to best that number once in all of last season when she got 32 digs in 1 game. However, Esquire is really going to be brimming with confidence coming into this game today. We're still working on getting starting lineups together.
While we wait, though, one other big storyline for the WPI engineers coming this game is that junior hitter Fiona Gillis is not going to be playing. You can see here, if you're looking astutely in the camera, that she's wearing a boot at the end of the WPI lineup, and that is a massive loss for them. She is their kill leader and has been putting up pretty impressive performances in the last 2 games. And so we're going to look to see where that kill production comes from, especially as she is the only returning outside hitter for the engineers.
It was a really big question coming into the season, as she was the only senior member on that left side, and she hadn't really played that much. I think she had played in 5 matches the previous season. She started the first 2 and had done really well, as you say, leading the team in terms of kills, and we had expected her to come into this game as their #1 option, but having sustained that injury, we aren't sure how they're going to adjust to it. One thing we saw in warm-ups was that Kylie Welcher, a sophomore setter and right side, has started taking sets in warm-ups. So she is not on the court to start, but we were wondering if she might come in and take some of the setting burden off of Lily Eldridge. Lily Eldridge played in that 6-2 last year, and as such had much more opportunity to get hits. So we were wondering if Welcher should come in. That would give Eldridge more chances. However, Eldridge is starting on the back row. And it looks like starting for the Jumbos, we have Audette, we have Lou. It is Wizenant actually coming in, starting at libero. Gray as well, Heckman, and Chi at middle hitter. Meanwhile, for WPI, we have Hudson, Stroop, and Kelnick on the front row. We have Esquire stubbing in as that libero. And on the back row, Jarebker and Eldridge.
It'll be interesting to see what Castor not starting out as the outside hitter. I imagine that means she may be rotating with Rihanna Liu at the setting position.
Will be Eldridge to serve the first serve of the Jumbo season. Audette gets her first touch in the year. Looking for her first kill. Blocked to the net, but it won't go. And Audette makes a strong return to the Jumbo's lineup.
Well, that was a good point for the Jumbos. You've got to feel they got a little lucky there, getting that net bounce, getting to slide along the net, but Audette placing it well.
And Audette's getting very involved straight away. Already 2 touches, and now she gets to serve. A bit of confusion on serve receive, as we said. Pushed over. Audette with a dig to Lou. To Gray, blocked. Wizenant getting her first involvement. Across to Heckman and pushed well along there. WPI gets the first point on the board.
Yeah, and in that case, it was just a little bit off for Lou in order to get that set out there, so it meant that the set wasn't quite where Heckman was expecting it. It was a little high, so she wasn't quite able to get over it as much as she would have liked, leading to it being forced too far.
Taylor Simpson has subbed in. She will serve now for the Engineers. Straight to Wizenant, to Lou. Heckman, that's more like it. And Gray just reaches that one over.
And that's where we can see when Heckman gets a set that she's happy with, she can do that. And there's not much you can do if you're an engineer side there. Gray cheekily just tapping it over afterward. I was very impressed also with Wisenen's receive there, really setting Lou up for a great set. Impressive from the first year.
It's impressive serve there as well. Eldridge coming all the way to get it. Jarebker straight to Audette. Lou, quick set, and that one straight down from Griffiths, who subbed in her first kill of the season.
What a set from Rihanna Lou. That was a pass that was off of a tip off the block, so it meant it was hard for Audette to get there, so Lou didn't have the pass that she was hoping for, but still managing the quick set off to Griffiths. Masterfully done there from Rihanna Lou.
You mentioned something that we're missing from you as that serve from Wisnet goes long, was that quick set to Cora Cunningham, who has also graduated, so we could be seeing a new partnership emerging here with Lou and Griffiths up front. It is now Esquer, the libero from Caracas, Venezuela, back to serve. It's a good one as well, but it's a good dig. And it's a great kill there, Emma Heckman, starting the season on fire, you'd have to say.
And it looks like Ella Norris and Claire Castor are subbing on. We'll see. It looks like Norris will be setting, and Castor will be a right side this season. Another position where she has had some experience, but not where the Jumbos are used to seeing her from last year.
The player with so much quality like Castor, you can play her almost anywhere, you have to say.
Pretty much.
Is Norris with the serve. Eldridge doing her best. Kelnick pushes it over. Wisenant with the set. And that was Castor now on the right side. Same result.
Yeah, very, very smartly done from Castor there, playing it off of the Engineer's block. And there was a case of a little miscommunication there between Norris and Wisenant, but Wisenant able to get the set over well, getting Castor the opportunity for the hit.
Norris once again, that one is off target.
And that's the second service error we've seen from the Jumbos so far, and that's not how you want to start the season off. You think it could be just a bit of nerves coming into the game. It was a first year who made the first service error in Wisenant, and Norris is a junior, but hasn't had that much playing time for the Jumbos, so she's also just working back into it. So hopefully that will start to disappear as the season goes on.
Alana Harris now. Wisenant with another good dig. And there's a kill from Griffiths again, but that one flagged out.
Yeah, Griffiths a little tight there in the middle, unable to fully get over it. Leads to going too far out.
WPI doing their best to keep it close in the early proceedings here. It's Harris with another serve and another dig. Griffiths forced to make do. Eldridge gets her first good set. Jarebker tries to get the kill, and Castor couldn't get it under control.
That was a great play there from the Engineers. First off, Harris's serves have been excellent. They've been dropping in right in the middle of the court, a very hard spot to receive. And also a little tight spot there in the middle with Eldridge setting Jarebker pretty much in the middle, but Jarebker able to get over and get on it well enough to hit it down, making it very hard for Castor.
Another great serve from Harris, but this one set well, and Castor puts it away.
Castor back on her familiar left side there, as it looked like she switched with Gray at the start off the serve receive and didn't end up switching back. So the area Castor's very familiar with getting kills from.
Gray this time, low serve, Esquer with the dig. Eldridge, Jarebker, Gray in the back row. Norris. That one blocked at the net. Eldridge celebrating that one.
Excellent block from Eldridge and Van Dam there up at the net. And the middles for this WPI team are some of their strongest players. We didn't get quite the chance to talk about it in the pregame, but Zila Van Dam and Emily Hudson are quite talented middles and are a real weapon for this WPI side, and will be looking to cause chaos up the net.
Jarebker now serving. Gray to Norris. And Castor, did that hit the line? It did not. Very close one there, but just edging towards WPI Engineers on that call. We just saw Audrey Stroop sub in after the prior point. She's a right side. She's had a big impact as well on the Engineer season. Nothing to do so far. She's playing as an outside right now, actually. Managed to hit that one over. Great work. It's an improvised hit.
Definitely an unorthodox hit there, but it caught the Jumbo's defense off guard. Gray unable to get up fast enough, and Audette trying to kick it, which, I mean, when in doubt, it can possibly work, but unable to get it there. It was a great placement from Stroop.
WPI going on something of a run here. 8-6 they lead. Audette back into the game. Norris. Griffiths puts that one home.
Griffiths starting the game off well. Second kill for her. She didn't get that much game time last year, only managed to get 16 kills and 12 blocks, but really taking advantage of the hole left by Cunningham and Bennett and wanting to cement herself as that starting player.
She's going to run back to serve now as Chi takes up that middle hitting spot. Eldridge with the set. Gray manages to keep that one alive. Another chance here, but that one's long.
And while the Jumbos aren't super happy to lose the serve here, this is the rotation where they will struggle the most on defense when their middle is serving, because the libero can only serve for one of your middles. So while Griffiths is serving, that means they have Julie Griffiths in the back line instead of Dylan Wisenant, which, not that Griffiths isn't a great defender, but it's not what her job is. So Jumbo's able to get out of that rotation.
Another kill there, and another assist for Eleanor. She's really made her mark on this first set. Again, as you say, having not played much last year, but she is trying to make her claim as she subs out as soon as I say that. But Rihanna Liu will make her claim to that spot as well.
And while Claire Castor had a great time in there, the Engineers will be scared to see Emma Heckman walk back out on this court.
Liu, one of the best servers on the team. Good dig, and that one attempted to get over by Hudson. Couldn't get the second attempt over either.
Got all the persistence, though, from the Engineers to really try and fight and get that over. Not able to quite get over there, Hudson, but not quite get it inbounds there, sorry, Hudson, but you have the persistence.
Liu again. Deep serve. Esquire setting it up. Stroop tried to get it. Liu doing her best to keep it alive, does so. Chi's forced to send over the free ball. Good block of the net from Heckman and Chi. Stroop, there's some disorganization for the Engineers. Heckman just tries to send it over, but Eldridge was waiting. Big miscommunication there as Esquire couldn't do anything with it.
And that felt out of character for the Engineers. They were doing a great job of playing scrappy volleyball, just keeping the ball in play. I've been very impressed, particularly by Stroop's ability to really adapt on the run, get some hits over in rather unorthodox locations, but in that case, slight miscommunication leads to a lost point.
Harris with the dig. Esquire. Jarebker from the back row. Liu quick to Chi. There it is.
And she makes her mark on this game. That's her first hit of the game, and it's a good one, getting the kill for the Jumbos.
It's been a pretty back and forth first set here. We said we were worried about the serve receive for the Engineers. They haven't conceded an ace just yet, I don't believe. Eldridge gets a set. Stroop goes straight through the Jumbo block. That brings the lead to 1.
I was going to say that wasn't the best pass to Eldridge, but Eldridge is a very, very good setter, and she's been making a great job of not bad passes, but not the pass that you're hoping for as a setter. And combine that with Stroop's adaptability, it's really allowed for the Engineers to get some good points on the board.
Liu forced to do something to make it work. Chi trying to just tip that in. Great placement, saw the gap.
Yeah, it was two great tips from the Jumbos. Gray finding it right in the middle of the Engineers side, a spot that's really hard to get to, and then comes up. I thought she was going to smack that down, but instead she deftly taps to the side of the court. No one there. Great play from Lena Chi.
Here's a big opportunity, but great block again. Heckman and Chi just can't get through him this time.
And you wonder how momentum plays a factor here as well. The Jumbos having 2 great points in a row. Volleyball is highly momentum-based. If they get a couple more points in a row, I won't be surprised if we see Coach Cahoon take a timeout here.
That one goes straight through the block, and Stroop gets a kill.
Or you can just do that, get a kill in the streak right there, and that will allow the Engineers to get back in here as Simpson checks in for Cahoon. Or not for Cahoon, sorry, for Stroop, and back to serve.
Cahoon remaining seated on his bench.
As he should be. He should not be
as he was
on
through
the
most
court.
of warm-ups, as you pointed out. Simpson with the serve. Liu behind her. Heckman found the blind spot brilliantly.
Well played there from Heckman. She has made quite the mark in this game already. She is on to her 3rd kill.
Something we didn't get to talk about in the pregame either was the importance of the first set to both of these teams. As last year, the Jumbos were 10-2 when winning the first set. WPI, that is the first service ace we mentioned, hadn't happened yet, but WPI themselves 7-1 when winning the first set. So you sense that this opening stanza could be crucial in determining the outcome.
And the service ace goes to the freshman, Dylan Wisenant. Can she get another one right here?
Not this time, says Esquire. Jarebker straight into that right side block, which has been brilliant for the Jumbo so far.
And one thing that is interesting about this matchup is the size difference. We see right now Emma Heckman and Julia Griffiths are at the net, each 6'3". The tallest player on the Engineers is 6 foot. And in volleyball, height plays a pretty big factor, and we have players with a 3-inch advantage, and if Ruby Flath comes on, a 4-inch advantage, that's not something to be just ignored. That can have a big factor, especially in that block, and we saw it really impacting there.
Yeah, Ruby Flath, 6'4". There are only 2 6'4" players in the NESCAC on the women's volleyball team. Kayla Holloway of Amherst, also a 6'4" player, but otherwise that leaves Ruby Flath as one of the tallest players in the NESCAC, and we haven't even seen her yet. We may well see her in one of the later sets.
One thing, looking at the stats so far, the Jumbos have had 5 errors on their attacks. That's hitting the ball out of bounds or into the net, and that starts to cost you. I mean, WPI has had 3, but if you look at the kill comparison, the Jumbos have 12 to WPI's 4. So the Jumbos can hit slightly more accurately and cut out some of those errors. You can see this game starting to stretch out a bit more. I have been impressed, though, by the Engineers' serve receive. They have been able to, outside of that one play, they've generally been pretty strong and put up a better performance than, honestly, I was expecting. And that's been partially due to Eldridge's ability to really move around and get the not perfect balls and able to get a good setup to create opportunities for WPI to not just get a free ball over the Jumbos, instead having them get the opportunity to at least challenge this Jumbo's defense.
Yeah, as we said, Eldridge last year played as one setter in a 6'2", so half the time she was playing as a right side, she is used to adapting on the court, and she's really showing that ability to make do with what she has so far.
And she's had quite the season, averaging 8.8 assists per set, which is a very strong number.
Looking for another one here, setting up Kelnick. Great dig there by Wisnant. Gray looking to go the other way, and that one's long.
And there's another one of those attack errors, which, I mean, I like the attempts to kill and attempts to really challenge the back line of this WPI side, but if we're hitting it out that often, that's not good for the Jumbos.
Still just a 4-point game. So Esquire lines this one up. Gray to Lou. Back to Gray. Esquire, that might have been going out, but forced to keep it alive. And send the free ball over. Audette to Lou. Heckman, that's not coming back anytime soon.
And one thing there that I loved was Julia Griffiths made the run and tried to hit. Made it look like she was hitting, which makes it slightly, just a second hesitation for the WPI block, which allows Heckman to get that additional space. And one thing I also noticed is there's been a few balls coming to the back court of the Jumbos where it could have been going out, and they've kept it alive, which can be a good idea, but also could have cost them a few free. Oh,
there's a service ace and a half.
Interrupted there by an incredible serve from Ellen Norris. Straight down, very low, tough for Esquire to respond to.
Esquire is the best receiver on the Engineers, so it takes something to beat her. Does well with this one. Eldridge again, improvised set. Again, the left side block has just not been quite the same as the right side. Gray hasn't been quite as effective, not as tall as the right sides for the Jumbos.
And you do sort of expect that. You're hitting to the right side, which Kelnick is right now, which is normally where we see Stroop, but Kelnick putting a good performance in there. But your right side block is often your left side block, is often where you see your outsides who are generally shorter, especially for the Jumbos here, with both Audette and Gray being, I believe, around 5'9", 5'10".
Great setter's done there. Eldridge was looking at the referee for something. I'm not sure what she was asking for, as it looked great from her perspective.
I think she was just making sure she didn't lift the ball,
yeah,
and the referee didn't say that she did. Didn't look like she did from my perspective, and she placed it excellently. Something we haven't seen from Rihanna Liu, which we kind of pre-gamed a bit, but she will maybe pull out in another set.
Acrobatic set there, and Gray puts it home.
It's interesting, when Castor's been on the court, we've seen Gray hitting almost more from the right side and Castor from the left side as they deal with the serve receive. Matza Shi has just checked in for the Jumbos. She's a new freshman, a defensive specialist coming in for Abigail Gray.
Good serve to introduce herself, and that one will go down as an ace, I believe.
Yes, it will. And that's where we see those service receive problems come up again. And even though they've had a pretty good service receive, they've already given up 2 aces, which is near their average. And 2 points you probably shouldn't be giving up.
Another great serve from Shi. Jarebker.
Just to correct myself, it's 3 aces, not 2 aces.
Oh, Harris couldn't get that one under control. It was forced backwards.
That's such a tough thing to respond to. If it's coming at you a little bit lower, she can get under it. But when it's right at your chest, being able to control that is such a challenge for a receiver. And it was excellently hit, excellently placed by Julia Griffiths.
Tufts going on a great run here, now within just 4 points of clinching the opening set. As we mentioned, that could prove so important. Mustashi is an interesting player. She actually played as an outside hitter for her high school, but she played as a libero for her club team. Doesn't get the libero jersey for the moment, as they already have 2 players with the blue jersey on.
Also interesting, she did manage. Sorry, we got a replay going right here of Julia Griffith's excellent hit there. But she did manage, actually, her team played Emma Heckman's Point Loma team a year ago when Heckman was a senior, and they won. Bishop's Matsashi's team won 3-1, and she put up 12 kills. So some rivalry there between the current Jumbos, who always fun to see some cross Jumbos play before they get to Tufts.
Also, there's someone on the other side of the court who is experienced with Heckman as well. Zila Van Dam played for Canyon Crest, who also played Heckman in their high school days. So there's a lot of history for first years and sophomores. That's a lot of history coming onto the court. It's interesting. Tufts with 7 players from California. Those 3 who we mentioned were all from the San Diego La Jolla area. 7 players from California, only 4 from Massachusetts. Wisnet here with the dig. Norris. Audette. Block can't get it over. 3 more, and that will be the set.
Yeah, Audette able to see the block wasn't quite there and put it just right in between them. Well placed from the graduate student hitter.
She feels like she's been serving for a while now. I think it's only her 4th, but it was over the timeout. Dinked over there. Norris. Castor blocked. She just sets it over. Harris has to dive for it. And Jerebker, that was not the contact she wanted.
Just some communication struggles there for the Engineers. She's ball was not that tough of one, but because the Engineers were in hitting position and in blocking position, they weren't ready for a free ball over the net. So they had to have Harris scramble for it.
Another ace from She. She is showing her serving prowess right now for sure.
Yeah, and we love Cora Thompson's decisions to integrate some of the freshmen already, as we see several first years coming on early.
She looking to close out the set. Eldridge trying to have her say. Jerebker. And Castor still alive. Esquire for Jerebker. She keeps it alive again. Miscommunication there. And Van Dam gets a kill. That's crucial for the Engineers at this point in the set.
Yeah, that is Van Dam's first kill of the set, and they really need her to get going, because if she can get those kills going, if she can get that going, she is the highest kill player still on the Engineers out here, and if she can get those kills, get that production going, it gives a chance at least for the Engineers to get back in this set.
Norris. Audette to close it out. And it will just about stay alive. Griffiths manages to get it over. Wizenang, great work. Bit of a chaos point here. And Van Dam gets another kill.
2 in a row for Van Dam, and what a point that was. We love the grit and the resilience shown by the Engineers there as they managed to save a point that I think we both thought was lost.
Yeah.
I mean, you even started saying this, that was over, but great play from the Engineers to keep that alive. And we keep going here.
Esquire. Stroop. She. Again, miscommunication on the side of the Jumbos. Managed to keep it in play. She to Norris. Castor blocked again. Engineers just will not give up in this set. Stroop now. Wiznant. She to Audette. Van Dam going for a 3rd kill in a row. Can't quite get there. And the point will go to the Jumbos. I believe that was a plane violation.
It looked like a backcourt hit. I don't know if Eldridge is in the backcourt. Coach Cahoon is checking on that. They're going to replay the point. Oh, no, they're not. That is the end of the set as the Jumbos take a 25-16 win. We will be back in a few minutes with Thomas DiLorenzo taking the mic. Welcome back to Tufts JumboCast here at Cousins Gymnasium in Medford, Massachusetts. We have just seen set one finish as the Jumbos took it 25-16. I'm now joined by Thomas DiLorenzo, who will be taking over color for this next set. Thomas, what are your thoughts on that first set?
You know, I have a couple of notes for both teams. First of all, starting with Tufts, the Jumbos, I think the block on the left side was very weak, particularly Griffith. She needs to tighten up, close the gap, and also make sure her arms are tense so that the ball can't get over. I think that was the big criticism I had of the Jumbos. I wanted to shout out Wizenant. She is bringing a great energy to the team as a freshman. She is digging balls everywhere. She is celebrating, and her teammates really respond to her. On the WPI side, I think there's a lot to talk about. Their service receive was not good. I believe they had Tufts ace them 4 times, and even on the points where they were not aced, they were always running all over the place. Poor Lily Eldridge is going to have a very good cardiovascular system by the end of the season. She better be taking oxygen on the sidelines.
Lily Eldridge has put in quite the performance this game. She's already put up quite a few aces and has been very solid for the Engineers. She got 6 assists at this moment, doing very well and creating opportunities out of points where they probably didn't have much of a chance and managing to get the ball out to her hitters. As we see Rihanna Liu now back to serve. She was one of the best servers for the Jumbos last year. And she gets an ace to start off the set for the Jumbos, as we see no changes for either side.
Yep,
The Engineers trying to keep it up, but unable to. Lou back to serve again. Received by Drebker. Eldridge keeps it up. Kelnick hits it over and managed to get it a point for the Engineers.
And the chaos point goes WPI's way. They got really lucky there, to be honest. That hit was actually not struck where she wanted it. It got struck on the fingers instead of the palm, but it ended up dropping in an opportune space, and the Jumbos could not get to it.
You wonder if that mishit is the reason why the Jumbos weren't ready for it, because it was slightly different than they expected. As Simpson checks in to serve. Received by Adet. Loose set to Heckman in the middle, and it's a point for the Jumbos.
And when the ball gets to Heckman, good things happen. It seems like the ball teleports from her hand onto the floor of the court. WPI has no answer for her thus far.
Adet back to serve now. The grad student who is back for the Jumbos here, starting an outside hitter. By Simpson, Eldridge hit to Drebker and blocked by Heckman and Chi.
And their block has been great so far. That kill block can really get in opponents' heads. If that happens too many times, WPI might start tipping it. They might start making more errors. It's just really good for the mental game.
Adet serve, received by Simpson. Out to Kelnick, and kept alive by the Jumbos. Gray's hit, received to Kelnick again. And this time she gets the kill. Kelnick's had a great start to this set so far, already on 2 kills this set alone.
Yes, she has, and that was a great rally for both teams. I thought there was a lot of promise there on the digs by Tufts and on the hits by WPI.
Here's where you do one of that left side block, though. Kelnick hitting from the right side, able to get 2 hits through. As we see Esquire about to serve. Wizenet's block, received shanked, and Van Dam puts it away. Point for the Engineers as they have taken the lead in this set. Tied it back up.
Great job by the Engineers, taking advantage of that rare mistake by Wizenet and putting it down before Tufts has a chance to even touch the ball.
Esquire's serve once again. To Heckman. And another kill for Emma Heckman.
Once again, Heckman taking care of business.
Esquire's serving out, moved out. She has the most kills, most service aces, coming into this game for the Engineers. So it's good for the Jumbos to get off that rotation as Wizenet's back to serve. Received by Simpson. Drebker blocked.
And another kill block, and that time Griffith's getting a piece of it. That is a great sign for the Jumbos. If she can clean up her side of the block, they will be pretty hard to penetrate.
And there's that 6'3", 6'3" block duo that's just terrifying. And Wizenet gets a service ace. Makes up for her receive a couple points ago and gets an ace of her own. That's her second ace of the game. Great introduction for the first year.
Yep, Wizenet has a great float serve. I can really see it moving in the court. I don't know if that's picked up by the camera, but opponents are going to have a lot of trouble with that this season.
Out to Kelnick again. And the Jumbos keep it alive to Drebker. And out. But as you're saying, Thomas, that left side block for the Jumbos has not been working. Kelnick, another great hit.
Yep, it was a great play to save that point, and Tufts did get paid for it. But that left side block is really going to need to step up.
As the Engineers try to get out of this rotation, Wizenet serves again. Poor receive. Out to Kelnick, gets it over. To Gray. Tips it over. Blocked by Kelnick in the net. Keeps it alive. To Kelnick again. Kelnick, so much involvement in that point, and it's only fitting that she gets the point for the Engineers.
You know, because of the fact that the Engineers are very poor at service receives, to be honest, they are very used to chaos. That point was a chaos point, and they know how to improvise very well, and that won them the point.
We see Alana Harris checking in as Kelnick steps off after a great start to the set. Gray hitting from the middle, received by Simpson. To Drebker. Places it perfectly. And you feel like that's a communication error the Jumbos will be trying to iron out as the season goes on. These are 3 players who really didn't play in the backcourt much last season. Gray got a few sets in. Adet was injured for most of the season, and Wizenet is a first year, so they're probably going to be figuring out this defensive rotation as they go. Harris to serve. Received by Gray. A little bit off, but Gray hits it over. Drebker The quick set, but Van Dam gets it over. Wisden tried to keep it alive, but unable to. Great spot there from Van Dam.
The Engineers are starting to tip a lot more, which is smart of them. Their hits have not been getting through. The blocks have been pretty good with the exception of the left side sometimes, but these dinks seem to be falling very well.
I don't know about you, Thomas, but I know when I played, when a block was good, you start tipping, and that's what they're doing. Great receive there from Esquire as Harris hits from the back row. Audette keeps it alive to Heckman, and she tips right back at the Engineers as the Jumbos get a point and finally break that rotation that was quite good for the Engineers.
Wow, great switch up by Emma Heckman there. Everyone is expecting another cannon of a hit out of her, and she knows that, and she uses that to her advantage and dinks it right over the block.
Norris and Castor check back in as Norris is back to serve. Norris able to get it off the net for the ace. There's nothing you really can do there as Engineer side.
You never say no to a free lunch. If the ball's going to hit the net, you roll with it.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, the Engineer serve receive. I don't think they could have done anything there. That was just a very good serve from Norris. But follows it up with an error, so you get a great serve, and then you get an error, so kind of bounces out there.
Yeah, it's the volleyball gods' sense of justice and karma there kicking in.
Jarebker back to serve for the Engineers. She had several great stretches of serves for the Engineers last set where they got a few strings of points. Can she do another one right here? Received by Wisenet to Griffiths, and off the tip. The Jumbos get the point. Matashi checks in now for Abigail Gray. She had a great serving run last set to end it off. The Jumbos will be happy to see her back on the court. Van Dam from the right side. And they're going to call it in. Line judge, they're saying tip there off the Jumbo block.
And that was an uncharacteristically good service receive from the Engineers. And look, it paid off. If you build it, they will come. If you can get the ball to the setter when she does not have to move, good things will happen for your team and for your hitters.
And you can shift Van Dam to the right like she did last time, getting a sort of switch up for the Engineers. But Van Dam's serve goes out there as Esquire doesn't really get much of a break. Comes back on the court. Griffiths back to serve. Wisenet getting a break now. Griffiths serve into the net. Serve error followed by a serve error from both middles. So no breaks for either libero. As Kelnick checks back in, she's had a great set so far. Eldridge back to serve for the Engineers. Seeing on a very healthy 11 assists this game. Norris goes a quick to Chi, but it doesn't quite work out. That's another thing that the Jumbos will hope to iron out as the season goes on.
Yep, those quick sets, that was an off-the-net 31 right there. If they can get that ironed out mid-season, late season, that will be an amazing weapon. It throws teams off so much. The timing is just too fast for blockers to react.
And Castor from the right side gets it in.
And a monster hit by Castor there right down the line. The blockers had absolutely no chance. She was looking like Heckman there.
She's checking as Heckman checks back onto the court. Lou back to serve. The one thing with this rotation is it means that Claire Castor, arguably the Jumbo's best server last season, is not behind the service line. So that's a question Cora Thompson will have to struggle with in these coming weeks. Like, how do we still get Claire Castor to serve while keeping her in this right side position? Rihanna Lou to serve, though. Another great server. Some slight confusion there, but here comes Lou. Received by Drebeker. Stroop from far back. And we talked a lot in the first set about Stroop's adaptability, but unable to get it there.
Errors, errors, errors. It really all adds up. The setter, Lily Eldridge, is doing a great job of at least getting to the balls, getting them up in the air. But if they're not on the net, the hitters are bound to make mistakes more often than they would otherwise.
And Lou gets her service ace. That is Lou's second service ace of the game. She was one of the Jumbo's best servers last year and is coming in looking very solid already. Esquire receives. And Hudson tips it over. Kept alive by Lou. Audette received by Esquire. Drebker from the back. Alive by She. Heckman from the right side does the tip and does it to perfection. Such a hard thing for the Engineers to respond to.
Absolutely beautiful placement there by her. The push right to the back right corner of the court. They really had no chance on that one.
I wouldn't be surprised here if we see Coach Cahoon of the Engineers calling a timeout soon to try to break Lou's serve, because she has been very strong since she's come on. Set to Stroop. Blocked. The Jumbos keep it alive. Eldridge again. Hudson. Perfect hit. Nothing the Jumbos could have done there. Really well done. Well executed by Hudson. She saw the block wasn't up and able to put away the point, breaking Rihanna Lou's serve.
Yeah, a lot of battles on the net at that point. And Tufts should have had the advantage there with their elevated height over WPI, but WPI managed to pull it out with a very well-placed dink.
To be fair, that's what I believe is Alina Chi and Christina Dett, who aren't the tallest players in Jumbos, but Emma Heckman's still at the net and can do a lot of damage. As Eldridge sets it to Drebker, who hits it too far. Another case of Eldridge running around the court, unable to really get a great pass to her to set up the point.
Yep, WPI may have been trying there to tool the ball off the block, which is where you hit the ball off of the top of the opposing player's hands and try to make the ball go out, but she hit it a little bit too high there.
And Kelnick back from the right side and gets a point. Kelnick picking up right where she left off. As Jumbos fans will see a familiar face check onto the court. That is Emma Norman, number 20, the junior. She got a good amount of playing time last year and is checking in instead of Abigail Gray. As Esquire back to serve. Received by Adet. Out to Norman, who tips it far. Simpson keeps it alive. Out to Drebker. Tips it over. Wasn't in. Norman's blocked. Heckman keeps it alive. And from the backcourt, Audette. Esquire keeps it up. Simpson to save it. And it's back over by Esquire for a free ball. Lou does the setter dump. She's so known for her first dump of the set and the match, but couldn't have come at a better time for the Jumbos.
Yeah, what an electric point and what an electric ending to that point. Rihanna Lou is such a weapon in all facets of her game, in her serve, in her setting, and in her dump. She is really a force to be reckoned with in this game.
And Becca de Ponce Pinheiro now on to serve. Very odd point there as the missed pass from the Engineers goes over, and the Jumbos clearly were not expecting that.
A little miscommunication there by Heckman and Griffiths. The ball was in that awkward place where it was just a bit too high to hit right back over the net, and neither of them knew who was going to get it when it came over.
Harris to serve now. Received by Norman. Heckman from the right side. And Heckman does what Heckman does. Another kill for the Jumbos.
A menacing cross-court by her there.
And that is Emma Heckman's, I believe, 8th kill of the match. By far the most on either team. Stroop and Drebker each on 5 for the Engineers. Kelnick on 3. Chi and Griffiths each on 4 as we go into a timeout. Thomas, what are you noticing so far from this set as the Jumbos have a 5-point lead?
WPI has definitely cleaned some things up. They're looking much more competitive in this set. Tufts would not be up by much at all if it wasn't for Rihanna Lou's amazing run there with her serves. After that, it's been very, very back and forth. There have been a lot of long points, a lot of battles at the net, a lot of mistakes made by both teams. Obviously, you know, it's first game jitters. There's a lot to iron out, but both teams are looking fairly good so far, I think.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't count WPI out of this set. If they can keep hitting from that right side with Kelnick or Stroop or whoever's out there and getting points, getting from there, because we've seen the Jumbos block has not been the strongest on that left side particularly. So if they can keep hitting it on the Engineers' right side, they can cause more issues to the Jumbos. And we've seen some substitutions as well, which some more players coming in. We've seen Becca de Ponce Pinheiro come in. We've seen Emma Norman come in. But that does mean a little bit out of rhythm, though, for the Jumbos, as they'll have to adapt to a slightly new team on the court so that the defense could be slightly less organized against some harder hits from the Engineers.
Yep, young teams like the Jumbos are always in flux. There's a lot to adjust to, but these players, I think, are up to the challenge.
As Norris checks back in along with Castor, it means Heckman is off the court, the Jumbo's most effective hitter so far. Norris back to serve. She's had some impressive serves so far. Another good one as Eldridge sets to Van Dam, tips it over. Out to Norman, tips it far. Drebker, another tip, set full of tips here. DePonte Pinheiro goes to Castor, who puts it away.
Wow, and great job by Castor there putting that away. That was a little bit chaotic for both teams. DePonte Pinheiro getting that really good elevation on that set for Castor, and it paid off. Great topspin on that ball, too.
Norris to serve. And it's too far. Her second service error of the night as the Engineers come back to serve. Stroop checks back on for Simpson. Jarebker at the service line. Jarebker's serve received by Audette. Far to Norman. And she puts a line hit away. Great hit from Emma Norman.
There it is. The last two hits, the last two sets she got, she pushed it over the net, and that was an absolute rocket down the line.
Emma Norman back to serve, her first serve of the night. The junior from Texas was a staple of the Jumbo squad in each of the last 2 years. Norman going to serve slightly before the whistle comes. Her serve is barely out. You wonder if she got a little bit psyched out by the whistle thing. I know serving in volleyball is a big confidence thing. Thomas, can you speak a little bit more to that?
Yep. You know, I think a lot of times when a server goes on a run, the opposing coach will call a timeout to ice the server, and that was an unintentional icing of Emma Norman. Quite unlucky for her, and she got perhaps a little bit psyched out.
And Castor trying to keep it in, hits it on the other side of the court, on the other side of the antenna, giving a point for the Engineers, who will take that every day.
And they're within striking distance now of Tufts, 20-16. This is not a done deal by any means.
Van Dam serve, received by DePonte Pinheiro to Mobley, freshman, first year coming on here. As Stroop hits and is off Norman into the stands. Point for the Engineers. They've brought it within 3.
Yep, and a very hard hit by Stroop there. If she can continue to hit like that, the Jumbos are going to have some problems. Luckily, it's on the right side, so perhaps the block for the Jumbos can take care of that.
Van Dam serve. Right to DePonte Pinheiro. Norris hits to Castor, who tips it over. And Harris not quite able to get there. Jumbos fans will have noticed Keller Mobley has checked in, the first year from Louisville, Kentucky, in at outside instead of Christine Audette. Griffiths back to serve. And it is far. Not the time for a service error for the Jumbos.
Yeah, a lot of service errors recently for the Jumbos. They might be psyching themselves out a bit. I don't know. But it's becoming a little bit of a problem in this set as the lead is, again, cut down to 3.
And Engineers fans will be happy to see Kelnick into the court again, who has been quite effective so far. Eldridge back to serve. Received by Mobley. To Castor. Blocked. Kept alive by Hudson. And Eldridge sets it far and wins the point.
Yeah.
Jumbo's caught too tight there, I believe.
Yep, they were all up at the net. They were all psyched out because it looked like it was going to be this big jousting battle, and Eldridge very smartly set it to the very back of the court. I think that's a large part of being a setter is understanding the situation you're in and understanding the situation your opponents are in the game and taking advantage of that.
Eldridge has been very good at that as she's at the service line. And gets jinxed by me and serves it right into the net. Unfortunate there for Eldridge.
Yeah, a very costly mistake is now the lead is back up to 3. They were within 2 points of the Jumbos, which I did not think would be happening earlier in the set.
And Thomas, you see who's behind the service line? That is Rihanna Liu, who has been phenomenal from the service line for the Jumbos.
Great news.
Drebker's receive. The help call was not heard there by Kelnick as she watched the ball drop in front of her. That's just a communication error. Makes sense. Coach Cahoon calling a timeout, trying to just resort the mindsets for the Engineers.
Yep. When I was in high school, my setter was told to scream like an absolute madman when he needed help, because if you don't shout at the top of your lungs, your hitters will not respond. They're not in the setting mode. They're not used to getting the second ball. You need to literally shock them into going for that ball because it's out of system.
And we've seen both teams have some communication errors throughout this game, and that's something that you expect will be solved later in the season. This is WPI's third game, as we mentioned, Jumbo's first game, and it's the type of thing you don't like to see, but you know will probably disappear as the season goes on.
Yep, for a couple of reasons. First of all, the team will get used to each other. They'll get used to each other's mannerisms, rhythms, what you need to do to prompt your teammate to do something, and also because hopefully the service receives will get better for both teams and they'll spend more time in system rather than out of system. Good things happen in system. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. It's out of system that usually causes problems for these teams.
Very true, and there are a lot of first years getting a lot of gameplay for both teams. We've seen Dylan Wisenant. We see Keller Mobley in the court now along with Matashi for the Jumbos. And on the Engineer side, we've seen Anastasia Kelnick. We've seen Jarebker and a few other, it's Presley Jarebker and a few other first years get some good play time for the Engineers. As Rihanna Liu steps back to serve. 2 points left for the Jumbos. Can she finish it off? Her serve is long. The timeout worked out for the Engineers.
And that hurts for Rihanna Liu. Her serve was so good earlier in the set. It got the Jumbos 5 or 6 points in a row. And I know she's going to want that one back later.
And Taylor Simpson checks in and is behind the service line for the Engineers. Received by Shi. It's far out, but Liu keeps it alive. And Shi hits it over. Simpson tries to keep it alive, but unable to, as the Jumbos move to 1 point away from being 2 sets up on this game.
Yep, great effort there by Simpson because, you know, once you get to 24-20, now it's a little bit hard for the Engineers to come back. Before this, they definitely had some hope, a chance to take this set and even it out at 1-1. Now it seems that the Jumbos will go up 2-0.
I won't rule it out, though. We've seen crazier things happen as Keller Mobley's about to serve. Over the net, barely. Out to Kelnick. Blocked. Kept alive by Drebker. Heckman pushes it deep and out. In. That is a point for the Jumbos, finishing off the set, as we will be seeing a replay of that shortly.
Yep, great ball knowledge there by Heckman, knowing exactly what the situation was, knowing that she didn't need to go for a heroic down ball to the other side. She just needed to push it into the exact right location where no one was.
Yeah, we will be taking a quick break. We'll be back for the final set with all 3 of us on the mic for the third set. So get hyped for that. Should be a great time.
Welcome back here to Cousins Gymnasium as we get ready for this third set between the engineers of WPI and the Jumbos of Tufts University. I'm Micah Baum, back on for play-by-play, and alongside me are both Thomas DiLorenzo and Jake Flossie. Thomas, it's been a much closer run thing in this second set.
Yep, absolutely. The Jumbos are up 2-0 right now, but that does not tell the entire story. WPI in that last set really came into their own, I thought. Their hits were much better. Their passing was better. Their setter, Lily Eldridge, has been great this entire game, but I really thought as a team they were much more cohesive and comfortable with each other on the court, and I think it really showed.
Yeah, and one thing that I've really noticed as watching this game so far is the serves have been a big factor. We've seen the Jumbos have 9 service aces, which is a great stat, but if you copy that with 8 service errors, that really wipes out that entire point gap they've gained. So they have to really clean those up if they want to establish more runs like they had in that first set.
Interesting starting lineup here as Apaibe is a hitter who subs out for Wizenant back in as the libero to start things off. Mobley also starting this third set. Eldridge will be back to serve.
One other thing to notice here is Claire Castor and Emma Heckman are both in. That signifies Claire Castor may have moved to the outside role that she's more used to.
Lou to Mobley. Heckman. Lou, Mobley again. That time gets it to fall.
Welcome to Tufts, Keller Mobley. What a hit there. Cross court, placing it perfectly. Really starting her career off with a great kill there, and she's about to serve.
Mobley sets this one up. Fast serve, and that one completely misjudged by Jarebker. So much pace on it.
In that case, you feel like Jarebker trying to hit it from the side. She probably could have set herself around a little bit more so she would avoid that risk, but great serve from Keller Mobley, really starting to set off well.
It's another one, this one aimed at Square. Eldridge. Now to Lou. Mobley from the back row, that one doesn't quite get over.
You know, those back row attacks are much harder, and I don't blame her for missing that one. That really takes some adjustment. You really have to get to know your setter to be able to get the timing for those right. It's much more precise, but I really respect her for trying. And
you got to feel that the fairy tale run for Mobley had to end at some point. She has been very strong in this set, but it happens to all of us.
That's unfortunate miscue there from Harris. She had a good serving run in the first set. That one couldn't quite get the angles right as Apaibe subs in for Griffiths.
Apaibe had quite up and down season last year. Didn't get that much playing time, but when she did, she managed to record quite the number of kills, sitting on 13 kills last season.
Good kill there. I think that was Kelnick who got the final touch.
Yeah, and you know, that left side block, again, just not getting up to the level it should be. It was hit right over the block, which is not a good sign. It means that the blockers need to jump just a little bit higher to make sure that the hitter feels more hemmed in.
A square now. Lou to Heckman. She just keeps doing it. You can't stop it.
And that time the block was there, but just wasn't there fast enough and tight enough. So Heckman was able to play off of it and get the point for the Jumbos, as Norman is now playing the right side. So her and Castor seem to have switched sides. Heckman sitting on an impressive 10 kills in this game so far.
Norris, the lefty serve. Eldridge to Kelnick. There's the block. Apaibe, not that contact she wanted.
And that's, I feel like, just a little bit of rustiness just coming on. She will probably get more into the game in a second. She just got to get herself settled, get her head right, and she'll be able to get it on her next try.
It's interesting. Apaibe only 5'9". Blocking was not her strong suit. She only had 2 blocks last year. She's already got 1 on the board now, but it will be interesting to see how she adapts to that position. Apaibe looking for another kill. Harris makes sure it doesn't happen. Jarebker, there's another block for Apaibe. Make me look silly. Tipped over this time. Wizenant to Norman. Square does well to receive. Eldridge to Harris for the back row hit. Norris does well. Wizenant, Norman again, Square again. And the dump there from Eldridge, Wizenant was wise. Mobley from the back row again. What placement, unbelievable from the first year.
Wow, and I feel like everyone on the court got a touch on that ball. That was a great team point for both teams. Tufts, fortunately, took the point. Apoibe also has a very impressive vertical. She might only be 5'9", but she seems like an absolute firecracker as a blocker.
Just noticing as well, the Engineers seem to have picked out Norris to the setter and targeted her several times.
Miscue there from Jarebker. Not what they wanted, and the Jumbos are starting to pull away.
And if you can spot the setter, as the Engineers seem to do in that last play, they forced Norris to pass it originally, making Wisenant have to act as the setter, which can make it a lot harder for the Jumbos offense to work effectively.
Jake, you were mentioning they were worried about getting Castor to serve. She's got back there now. Doing a good job so far. Is Norman trying to put it away? Apibe couldn't quite get down low enough to get that one.
And both of those plays there, Norris got the first touch on the ball, and that forced the Jumbos to have to scramble out of system, as Wisenant said it once, and the other time they just didn't know what to do. So they really need to avoid having Norris touch the ball so early.
Castor's serve is broken. It's Jarebker this time for the Engineers. Received by Wisenant. Norris. Apibe looking for the kill. Jarebker, great dive to keep it alive. Can they get it over? No, that was outside the antenna.
Gotta love the scrappy plays, though, from the Engineers. I feel like we've been saying more and more scrappy things from the Engineers. They've been really, while they've been forced out of rotation several times, they really try exceptionally hard to keep the ball in play, which you love to see as a spectator.
Apibe with the serve. Eldridge with the attempted setter's dump. Griffiths tips it back over the other way. Eldridge looking for Van Dam. Blocked comprehensively by a combination of Mobley and Griffiths.
And that set a little bit too close to the net, and Tufts took advantage. They got the block right up there, and WPI really had no chance. There was nothing that they could have done with that ball.
The Engineers do now have Amelia Crum on the court, who got a perfect receive off of Abuebe's serve, allowing for Eldridge to set her dump.
That was not a perfect receive there from Esquire, and that will be an ace for the sophomore. She steps back. She's been looking pretty solid on her serve so far. Has the middle blocker. There's another good one there. Esquire Eldridge runs all the way back to receive it and forced over, or attempted to be forced over by Crum, but she says my bad on that one.
Yep, and again, the out-of-system serve receive really makes a difference. It creates chaos, it creates mistakes. No one knows what their role is anymore on the court, and that's really been hurting WPI so far this set. They've gone back, they've reverted a little bit on their serve receives.
No surprise that Coach Cahoon calls a timeout there, as the lead has extended to 10-4 for the Jumbos.
And what we mentioned at the start with reception errors, WPI currently 11 reception errors. Tufts just the one. That is really proving to be a major difference maker in this match so far, as this is the earliest Coach Cahoon has called a timeout for WPI. Tufts yet to call a timeout on their own time, as they've been cruising so far in this third set, looking to put this one to bed.
To give the credit, though, to WPI, they have been much more accurate with their serves. Only 3 service errors to the Jumbo's 8, which is something that it is early in the season, but you really should be missing serves at any point. That's something you can control, that you really want to try and limit as much as possible, because those are just free points to their side. So while the Jumbos have been very effective from the service line in terms of aces-wise, they really need to cut down on those errors as much as they can.
Been very high risk, high reward from the Jumbos so far.
Looking at hitting percentage as well, the Jumbos have been much, much more efficient, hitting a .3116 percentage compared to the 110 for the Engineers. And I think a lot of that comes from the passes at the start, allowing Lou and Norris to give much easier sets to the Jumbos, allowing for better hits, while Eldridge has been running it all over the court.
Abibe back again. Low serve this time. Stroop, the unorthodox hit over. Norris. Mobley, still, they managed to force that one over somehow. Norris again, Norman. Stroop again. There's that right side block, but out of bounds on the touch.
It's actually a net touch there from Emma Norman, it looks like. It would have been an Engineer's point either way.
Zila Van Dam now back all the way to serve. trying to reduce the deficit, sitting at 5 right now. Out of rotation here, Mobley does her best with it. Attempted kill there, received by Castor on the back row and couldn't get that one over. WPI doing their best here.
Coming to that timeout strong with 2 points in a row, making a dent in this Jumbo's lead. Gotta wonder what Coach Cahoon said at the timeout.
Sure he said something in the air of Zeal Van Dam. Doing a fine job serving so far on this run. Another session by Castor. Miscommunication and Castor forced to push it over. Struve now, great contact. Wisnant does well to pick up the pieces, and Mobley forced to send over the free ball. Eldridge looking for another setter's dump. Wisnant, great dive. Mobley again, another kill from Mobley. She's having a great debut.
And you know, great digs from both Wisnant and Castor. They've really become pillars of the defense for the Jumbos. That ball by WPI got right through the middle of a block, and Castor still managed to dig it. A very, very difficult thing to do because the ball is coming from an angle you are not expecting.
As Maywin Kamji checking on for the Jumbos, the first-year right side out of Wellesley, Mass. She's also a high jumper, which should come to her advantage up at the net.
She's also, as we found out at the beginning of the game, in possession of a beautiful singing voice. What a serve there from Rihanna Liu. Yet another ace, perfectly placed.
And Rihanna Liu does it again. That is quite a few service aces for her. I believe that is her third. Yes, it is.
Liu once more. Into Crum. Eldridge to Hudson. And miscue on the block there from Kamji and Griffiths. WPI managed to break the run from Liu.
And that was a little tricky there by WPI. The hitter mixed up the timing and confused the Jumbo blockers. Blocking is all about timing. So if you can throw off your opponent's timing, good things will happen.
Liu sets it across. Mobley again. Can't quite get it right this time.
Jumbo's calling for a tip there, but referees didn't see it. And to be honest, I didn't see it either.
If you are enjoying this broadcast, we will be back tomorrow, not here in Cousins, but out on Bello with the opener for women's soccer against Emerson at 6 p.m. as there's Kamji's first kill of her collegiate career.
And a really intelligent play by Kamji there, recognizing the situation and realizing that a push was the best idea. WPI was playing way too far up, and she made them pay for it.
Mobley back to serve. She's had a fantastic debut so far. And that serve was awkward for WPI to deal with. Liu to Griffiths. That's this quick 1-2 we've seen so much from you to Cunningham last year.
Yeah, wow,
Replicating
and a monster slide there. That's the first time I've seen them pull this out this game. That slide play can make any team so much more dynamic. It can throw the blockers off so much and give them nightmares, honestly.
Esquire, good dig. Stroop straight into Wisnant. Tried to go for the 1-2 again. Utter chaos at the net, and eventually they get called for a carry. WPI claims the point.
Yep, it was hard to tell what exactly was going on in that point. WPI managed to pull it out. That was a tough one for the Jumbos to defend against.
Harris checks in. Her turn to serve again. Didn't have the best time out last time. Looking more confident this one. Kamji from the outside. Fantastic. Might have to check the seismograph.
There.
Wow, and what a monster hit there by Kamji. You also saw Griffiths faking as if she was going to do a slide, which really threw the blockers off, giving Kamji a wide open look at that line, which she took full advantage of.
Jumbo's bench getting very hype after that kill from Kamji. She has 2 kills so far on her collegiate debut. Wisnant back to serve. Kelnick trying to put one right back. Wisnant, Kamji again, make that 3. The Jumbo's first-year class making their mark on proceedings here tonight.
Kamji has introduced herself with a bang here in Cousins, hyping the crowd up with 2 incredible hits in a row.
Wisnant back. starting as the libero as a first year. That's not something you see very often. The other options, she also first year, and of course Stefancia Pinheiro, she herself just a sophomore. So Lou digs deep to get that one. Still alive, Jarebker into Castor. Lou back to Castor, and that's a blaster from Castor. Put this one ever closer to a Jumbo's win.
Castor putting it away nicely there, getting the point for the Jumbos as Wizenit continues her serving streak, as this game is starting to get a little bit out of hand for the Engineers.
Wizenit again, so much pace on that serve. Esquire had to fight through her own player to get to it. Jarebker just sends it back over. Lou quick to Apaibe. Looked a bit out of sync there, but she made do with it.
Kelnick's pancake not quite there, but you love to see the effort. Apaibe, great adaptation there, ball behind her, but managing to get the tip over. Timeout there from Coach Cahoon. And this is a reminder for anyone who is interested in joining JumboCast. We'll be at the club fair and on Friday from 12 to 3 near the Jumbo statue. We will also be having 2 GIMs in the coming days. Sunday, September 8th at 7:30, and our normal meeting time Monday, September 9th at 9 p.m. Both of those will be in 0 and 12. Please swing by. We'd love to meet you, love to start work with you, get you on the mic at some point. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you are a Jumbo student and happen to be watching this and haven't heard of JumboCast, we would love to have you. If you're interested in this kind of thing, it is really fun. I know everyone on this broadcast next to me can attest to it. So highly recommend it and hope to see some of you all down there. Jumbo's just 7 points away from putting this game to bed, as WPI have not been able to find their groove in this third set. Tufts just haven't led them with some monster performances from the likes of Kamji, Apaibe, Mobley, who, as we say, either weren't on the team last year or didn't get much play time, have really stayed their claim so far.
Coach Cora Thompson has some tough decisions to make in the coming weeks, as Mobley made a case to start. Kamji looks incredible. Apaibe looks incredible. There's a lot of players in here who all seem to be fighting for starting minutes. She has been great. There's a lot of players who just look very good, and that's such a great sign for the Jumbos going forward. As you mentioned earlier, Micah, 16 of these 21 players are underclassmen, and that is a very promising sign for these Jumbos' future.
Wizenit. Harris can't get that one under control. Kelnick was chasing, but that was in vain.
Yeah, WPI really starting to show cracks in their serve-receive game again. They seem to be in their heads at this moment, and the Jumbos have really controlled the tempo in this set.
You start to wonder about fatigue as well for the Engineers, as they've had, coming to this game, the same 10 players play throughout, as we have seen Crump check in for a little bit, but Esquire, Jarebker, Eldridge, Harris, Kelnick, Hudson, all of these players out here have had a lot of minutes in the past week or so. They had a game on Sunday. They had a game on Friday. While the Jumbos are coming in, this is their first game of the season, and once you get to the third set, fourth set later, fatigue really starts to play a role, and having less depth can be an issue.
Another huge block. Wow. Kamji Apaibe at the net.
Speaking of depth, we see a great block there from Kamji and Apaibe, both players who did not start for the Jumbos.
Yep, and that was a great point right there. The Jumbos building a roof over the Engineers. How do you like that for irony?
Can't really follow that one up. Wizenit with the serve. Eldridge to Hudson. Another huge block. And another almost gets it cleanly. Castor this time just can't do anything to stop that.
And for the Jumbos on the court right now, it is all underclassmen. It is 2 sophomores in Rihanna Liu and Claire Castor, or 3 sophomores, sorry, and Apaibe, and then 3 first years. If that's not a good sign for the Jumbos, I don't know what is.
Wizenit has been on an incredible serving run. Another one there. I think that's the 14th ace for the Jumbos so far in this game. That puts them within 1.
And Wizenit having an amazing run right here. What a promising young freshman for the team.
Here she goes again. Serve to Jarebker. Eldridge. Kelnick trying to keep it alive.
Double touch there from Claire Castor. It's really not much you can do there, Thomas. When the ball is stuck in the net, you're trying to pop it up. Not much for Claire Castor there.
Yep, very tough position to be in, and great job by WPI to put Tufts in that position.
WPI now fighting for their lives. They had a strong showing in the second set, but the Jumbos have just proved a bit too much for them in this final, well, presumably final. They're doing their best to keep it going for the moment as Mobley miscues that receive. That will be an ace for the Engineers. S-square once again. Abiibe with the dig. Wizenant forced to bump it over. Eldridge forces direct curve much wider than she was expecting. Does well with it. Kamji from the far side. Another kill.
Wow, and that was an amazing kill right there. I think she was giving us some foreshadowing when she sang the national anthem. That was a bomb bursting in the air as she rocketed it down onto the WPI side of the court.
As she checks it off the court to applause from the stands. She has made herself a fan favorite in her first night here at Cousins.
It will be Norris serving for the set. Not this time, though. WPI survive for yet another point. Crum checks in for Kelnick. She'll go back and serve. All resting on her. Very high serve. Molly receives. Norris. And into the net there from Norman.
Got to worry about communication there, as Castor might have had a better chance to get it, but Norman was right there, so kind of on top of each other makes it harder for them to get it, as the Engineers live to survive another day.
Jumbo's just showing maybe a bit of a lack of focus as they near what should be the end of this game for them. They just need that one moment. Abiibe trying to provide it, and it's long again.
Slide play ran there by the Jumbos between Norris and Abiibe, and it worked out. Abiibe had space to hit, but just a little bit too far.
Crum still. Into Mobley. Norris. Norman. That's the game. A fiery performance from the Tufts Jumbos to open their season. 3-0 victory over the WPI Engineers. And a great showing from their new recruits coming into this game.
And we'll be back in a few minutes with an interview with first-year Dylan Wizenant, who has had quite the impressive start to her Jumbo career. And welcome back to JumboCast as the Jumbos just defeated the WPI Engineers in 3 sets. I'm joined here by Dylan Wisenant, the freshman libero who had quite the game, putting up 8 digs and 4 service aces. Now, Dylan, you got 4 aces and an 8-point serving streak there at the end. Really put the game to rest for the Jumbos. What was going through your mind there? It's your first game here, putting up 8 serves in a row. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of grit. What was going through your mind there?
Well, I mean, the other team didn't make it easy. They were really scrappy, and I think I was just really focused on staying consistent and putting the ball where it needed to go. And then as I got deeper into that run, putting a little bit more pace on it, making it a little more difficult. But yeah, they were great. It was a really fun game. Yeah, so it was a fun run.
Yeah, put a few tricky serves there, especially with some pace really well at the end. Moving on, you really seem to have a lot of energy in the court. You hype up the team is something we noticed a bit from the commentary booth, talked about a few times, that you bring a ton of energy, you really keep the mood high. Is that something you focus on as a player, or it just comes naturally to you?
Well, I think for any libero, it's really kind of a necessity. You have to really run the back row and hype up your teammates, especially because we can't really attack as often. So it's really important to have high energy, and I think I started focusing on it when I was really young, and now it's kind of just a natural part of me. I think it makes the game more fun, personally, so yeah. Definitely,
and it's a great thing for a team when you're down, when you've missed a point or two, having your libero cheering you up, getting the energy back up, can really stop those sort of slumps, which you guys really avoid in this game quite well.
Yeah, my team deserved every second of hype that they got. My hitters were amazing. They're so consistent, and yeah, they made it a tough match for WPI.
Yes, definitely. And now finally, you guys have your next 3 matches are in St. Louis, which will be quite exciting. You're taking on, including number 3 ranked in the country, Claremont Mudscripts. What are thoughts, feelings going into that trip?
I think we're all really excited, especially just getting to travel together as a team. It's really just like a bonding moment, but also we get to play some really competitive teams and really see how competitive we can be in these situations. I think we're looking pretty good in practices. I think we're very intense and competitive all the way across the board. We've got a team of 21, so we're all working really hard and competing really hard all the time, and we've just got a really good chemistry. So I think this trip is going to be really fun, and we're going to get to see a lot of our
Speaking
abilities.
of those 21 players, you've got quite the depth we saw as well. You have 9 first years in your class, and we saw a lot of them get the action to play. So it's definitely been an exciting season to watch as a spectator for us, and I'm sure you guys are going to do great things. So thank you so much, Dylan Wisenant. We'll be live tomorrow at Bellow Field for women's soccer, taking on Emerson. Tune in tomorrow.
Thank you for having me.
This has been JumboCast. Please stay home safely.
Wow.